This goes out to all my people who have plans to come to the United States or want to come travel to the United States and are like on the fence about it and don't know what to do with everything going on here. Don't come. My recommendation is to 100% boycott this country. Do not spend any money here. Do not plan any travels here. Show them that the world does not need the United States because they don't. So please just boycott.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So tourism season is upon us. And I can tell you what the United States is seeing. The United States is seeing a huge dramatic drop in international visitors to the United States. Now, those visitors contribute millions to billions of dollars of tourism dollars all across the United States, and specifically heavily in Florida, because everybody undoubtedly in Europe thinks that Florida is that Disneyland is the greatest place in the world to go. I don't understand that, but Florida's getting hammered on the tourism end, but it's also across the entire United States. Now, 18 million jobs are in the tourism industry. And when you're starting to lose billions of dollars, what you're going to do is you're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose revenues for small businesses, you're going to lose hotel motel taxes that support some things in local government. So the real deal is here. The world doesn't want to come to the United States, which has always been one of the top tourist destinations in the world. We're going to lose that title this year, and we know who we can owe that to. Congratulations on reducing the income for businesses that rely on tourism.
America faces a tourism crisis in 2025. Foreign visitors choose safer, easier destinations. The last time I checked at the actual numbers of cancellations to the United States, it was over 1 million foreign travelers, both business travelers and people coming for fun. About a month ago, it was predicted that we were going to lose almost $13 billion in tourism alone in the United States of America. Were you planning on coming to the United States and you've canceled your travel, either as a Canadian or from another country? People following me, did you know there is a boycott of the United States of America?
Family, the United States right now is going through losses in millions because people are choosing not to travel to America. Americans themselves are asking people from all over the world to not come to their country because their country is facing a lot of problems right now. Many governments of many nations are advising their citizens not to go to America because of the strict border laws right now, the immigration laws. They do not know if they'll be safe in America. The ICE agents are not giving people time to even check their visas, to check their legality in America. And family, that has caused a threat to many countries right now. We've known the US to be the most beautiful land that everyone wants to go to. Family, the US is the only country that does a lot of travel advisories to its citizens. And for the first time now, many people are boycotting America, and Americans themselves are telling people not to come to their country for their government to feel they are doing the wrong thing when it comes to immigration. Family, right now they are losing money in billions. Disneyland is empty, the airports are not as busy, and tourism is being boycotted in America right now, and it is affecting many sectors. So far in this video, you'll find out how the boycotting in the tourism sector is affecting America and its GDP in this day and time. Family, I want to thank you in a special way for supporting my channel through buying me a coffee. The link is on the description. So fam, I want us to watch this video. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
So I've canceled my next trip to the United States. I was meant to be going there in later April. I was looking forward to it as well, like going to Boston, New England, beautiful places, lovely people. In fact, I even have both friends and actually some relatives in Maine, but I've canceled it because ICE or whatever the hell it is detaining people. I mean, they detained a young Canadian for 10 days. They apparently arrested a bunch of Germans recently. They're going through people's phones. Like, this is meant to be the United States is meant to be the beacon of democracy and freedom and so forth. Well, it is anything but. This is what fascism actually looks like. It is awful in North Korea, and it is awful in Saudi Arabia, and it is awful in Iran. So we can all be honest about that. But when that sort of thing settles in to what we consider to be the free world, that is the erosion of any value that we actually stand for. So I bring business to the United States, right? I run tours. Well, I'm not going to now. It's shocking, but I woke up 3 days in a row worrying about flying down there. And then I talked to someone I know kind of on the inside who said, don't fly in if you're not an American citizen. Like, this is how terrible it is at the moment. So it's sad and it's shocking, but hey, I'm off to Europe in a few days. I can fly down to South America, a lot of beautiful places. And American friends are welcome up here, absolutely. But if you're going to come up and wave a Trump flag, then, don't.
Whoa. Okay, so don't come to America right now. I mean, all the obvious reasons why, but this is not safe for you. I just heard about 2 German young men who flew in to Honolulu Airport who were detained by ICE. They were questioned for hours. They were strip searched, naked, strip searched. They were placed in green jumpsuits, and they were put in a holding cell with criminals. Don't come here. It's not safe. It's not safe for me. I'm born and raised here. It's not safe for me. It's definitely not safe for you. Please, 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 please. Don't come here right now. Don't come here right now.
I'm a US citizen living in Mexico, so I'm very used to seeing travel warnings like this from the US government, warning their citizens about crime and other things that are occurring in different states throughout Mexico. But did you also know that countries all over the world have travel advisories warning their citizens about traveling to the United States? Like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, France, the UK all have travel warnings warning their citizens about traveling to the US. And they cite things like gun violence, police brutality, mass shootings, even lack of access to healthcare. Canada straight up tells its citizens to familiarize themselves with active shooter drills. New Zealand does the same. Imagine your family getting ready to go on vacation and you're reading about active shooter drills so you're prepared while on vacation. Meanwhile, American kids have been doing that since they've been 5 years old. So maybe instead of clutching our pearls about travel outside of the US, we should take a long, honest look at the very real dangers happening in our backyard, because the rest of the world already is.
The loss to tourism alone in the United States is worse than expected. Catastrophic, devastating loss to tourism in the United States of America. In May, I posted this video, hang tight. It's worse than predicted. Catastrophic and unprecedented $12.5 billion loss for tourism. You heard me correctly, $12.5 billion loss just in 2025. It is now predicted to be $29 billion loss in 2025. I have worse news. People are not coming to the United States. The entire world is boycotting the United States of America. 184 countries are expected an increase in tourism. We're the only one that's not only not getting an increase, we are expected to have a $29 billion deficit in tourism. Trump is disastrous to the United States of America. Tell me I am wrong. Have you canceled your trip to the United States of America? Drop your comments.
Don't travel to the US and don't buy American goods. I understand the gravity of that request coming from me. And I fully understand that there are a lot of people that can't do it. So let me explain myself. If you're watching this and you don't know who I am, I'm an American who's living abroad in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and one who is fearing for the state of the States at the moment. But as the world watches the States, there is a sense of absolute disgust with what's happening. And there's a sense of hopelessness and futility as we watch the United States of America become the Democratic People's Republic of America. This is something that we can do to directly affect what's going on. First is, don't travel to the States. This is especially true if you are not a white person. I hate to say it that way, but it is very true. Migrant hate is at an all-time high. And just watching it and hearing the stories, I do not feel like it's safe for you guys to go. But besides that, if you go to the States, all the money that you spend on that holiday eventually goes back into the economy and then supports the administration. Because all that revenue earned on tourism gets taxed. And all that tax money goes straight to you-know-who. Another thing that we can do here is to boycott American goods. I know that that's a big ask. In some places, that's not going to be as big an issue because they're getting tariffed and all these goods are becoming so expensive you don't want to buy them anyway. But in a place like Aotearoa, the tariffs don't necessarily affect us as much here, so some American goods are going to be cheaper, especially when we're having kind of a cost of living crisis here. But where you have the option, please try to avoid American goods if you can. I'm just as guilty of this. There's so many vices I have that come out of the States. But one of the only things you can do is hit him in the pocket. One of the main reasons that he got in was on promises of making things cheaper and more affordable and creating American jobs. All while completely forgetting that his biggest donors, that the biggest part of American industry comes from world trade and international money. Look, I know it's a big ask. I really do. And it's going to be hard for me too. And I'm not going to be able to give up all American goods. But where possible, as a world community, let's make a stand as best we can and say that we're not happy with how he's treating the global community. Feel free to disagree with me. That's the beauty of the internet, but it's just something to think about as we're going through this, that this has been the first 3 months and we've got 4 years of it. And he so far has gotten away without thinking that he has any consequences. And all we can do is try to give him some consequence. Because a great teacher of mine has told me there's only 2 ways that people learn anything. That's wisdom and consequence. And if you won't listen to wisdom...
Hey friends, hey TikTok. I don't know how much traction this is going to get, but I've been thinking, and perhaps this is not an original thought, but something that we could do internationally to have an impact would be possibly a letter writing campaign to the International Olympic Committee asking them to pull the 2028 Olympics out of Los Angeles. Now, I recognize that 2028 will be an election year, but Trump will still be in office. And so under his regime, it's clear that travel is not safe in this country for international travelers. It's not safe for international students who have documentation to be here. And it's certainly eventually not going to be safe for those of us that speak out against him. So with that in mind, I think a coordinated global effort to pull the Olympics from Los Angeles in 2028, though it's not going to shut down the Trump regime, it would be an effective message to the United States. I think it has possibility because, you know, the Olympics does have a responsibility to its athletes and the athletes' families and all the people that want to come watch the Olympics. Anyway, let me know what you think. Can we make it go viral? Can we start a letter writing campaign to the IOC to pull the Olympics out of Los Angeles? I think it's a good idea. I think it's worth a shot. What do you think?
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So tourism season is upon us. And I can tell you what the United States is seeing. The United States is seeing a huge dramatic drop in international visitors to the United States. Now, those visitors contribute millions to billions of dollars of tourism dollars all across the United States, and specifically heavily in Florida, because everybody undoubtedly in Europe thinks that Florida is that Disneyland is the greatest place in the world to go. I don't understand that, but Florida's getting hammered on the tourism end, but it's also across the entire United States. Now, 18 million jobs are in the tourism industry. And when you're starting to lose billions of dollars, what you're going to do is you're going to lose jobs. You're going to lose revenues for small businesses. You're going to lose hotel motel taxes that support some things in local government. So the real deal is here. The world doesn't want to come to the United States, which has always been one of the top tourist destinations in the world. We're going to lose that title this year, and we know who we can owe that to. Congratulations on reducing the income for businesses that rely on tourism.
So y'all know them travel advisory reports that the United States loves to push out, basically telling us to not go to certain places because they're violent or it's not safe. Yeah, so the Department of Commerce has now issued a report showing a growing list of countries advising their citizens to not come to the United States, to not come and visit the United States. Yeah, now we are not the safe country. So I'm reading from an article that you can find on Forbes.com, right? So it says that the United States government reported a double-digit overall drop in international arrivals last month, with much bigger losses coming from Canada, Mexico, and lucrative Western Europe markets, suggesting foreign tourists are staying away in significant numbers due to the tariff backlash and even harsher immigration tactics. So I'm just going to read off some of these statistics. So in the Caribbean, they have seen a 26% drop from visitors and tourists. Africa, 10% drop. South America, 11% drop. Central America, 24% drop. Asia is a 1% drop. And now the two largest governments, or the two largest European markets, the United Kingdom is down 15%, and then Germany is down 29%. These governments are telling their citizens to not come over to the United States, not visit the United States, in fear that ICE agents will detain their citizens and not bring them back to their native land, which we see is the case here in this administration. If they come here, God forbid, get detained by ICE, ICE will not allow them to prove that they're visiting, will not allow them to prove their visas. They will most likely send them to a detention center and then ship them over to El Salvador's mega prison, just like they did with that teenage New York Bronx kid that's actually from Venezuela. Instead of deporting him to his native country, they deported him to the mega prison. Yeah, that's what they don't want to happen, because if that happens, there's no way for people, their actual family and their government to even be made aware of what's going on, because ICE agents will not inform nobody. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was actually questioned on this yesterday during a press conference, to which she said, I haven't even seen the report. I haven't even seen the report. As the White House Press Secretary, is that not your job? Is that not your job to be aware and to manage the reputation of the government? Instead, she decided to say, while I haven't seen the reports and I would have to read it in order for me to effectively comment, I do believe that the administration that we're in right now is so much safer and so much better than the one that we were in previously 4 years ago. So I don't know why they would be advising their citizens to not come over here. It's because of this administration's policy and their harsh immigration tactics. That's why. These are tourists that often have to come over here on a visa. ICE agents are not allowing people to even prove their legal status. Why the fuck would anybody come over here? Just so you know, the United States makes $2 trillion in tourism. $2 trillion that we're starting to lose now. And that $2 trillion is tied up in the United States GDP, which is part of the reason why the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. That goes down. I think you know where I'm going with this. So now, thanks to this administration and all of its dumb policies, we are facing a possible recession, inflation. The entire world globally is laughing and mocking our democracy and our government. We are now starting to lose profit that we make on tourism. And as a New York City native, I'm not gonna lie, we could use a little less tourism here in New York City, but overall, for American economy, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. Maybe if this administration wasn't too worried with trying to rack up and rally as many free slaves to ship over to that mega prison in El Salvador, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this.
Family, for a long time now, I have always known the US to issue travel advisories for its citizens not to travel to certain countries over the threat of their safety. And fam, for the very first time, I'm seeing other countries afraid, other citizens of other countries afraid of visiting the US. We're also seeing the US citizens warning other people not to come to their country because they won't be safe, especially in this era of ICE raids. The funny thing about these ICE officers, they arrest immigrants and people who are visiting America without even having to check about their legality in the country. And that has caused threats. And many countries are now advising people not to go to America. And countries are now pushing for that issue and advising people not to go to America. And this has brought a lot of losses coming from countries like Canada, Mexico, and European countries. Many people are afraid of the tariff backlash. America is expensive right now too, and a lot of people are afraid to even travel there for business. You'd imagine how much you'd spend for you to be able to operate and run a business in America, or even go for a business trip or a meeting. You know, you can already imagine the costs with the high tariffs in America. The second thing that is making people to be afraid of going to America is actually the harsh immigration policies. And when we talk about the harsh immigration policies, we are talking about the recently introduced ICE raids. You know, in the past few months, that has brought a lot of tension to visiting America. I'd imagine going to America as a visitor, you know, with your visa, you could be somebody who walks in the street with your passport wide open, showing your visa stamp, you know, for you to be safe, because the ICE agents do not give you time for them even to check your documents and your legality. Caribbean countries have shown a 26% drop to traveling to America. African countries, 10% drop, while the UK is at 15%. And UK is one of the countries that has a lot of people visiting America. When you look at South America, there is an 11% drop, while Germany is at 29%. Just imagine, that's a crazy number. And fam, these all thanks to the policies that have come with Donald J. Trump. America has become unbearable. America is even being given as an example as a violent country. You know, some people are told to not go to America because of mass shootings and their safety is not guaranteed. That is what is happening right now in America, thanks to the government of Donald J. Trump. Family, a lot of people are afraid. And when we see even Americans asking people not to come to their country, you know, they want the president and the government to see the heaviness that comes with people not visiting their country. Not that they want to tighten, you know, the immigration laws. It's making it more and more difficult. And that has affected many sectors. When you look at areas like the Disneyland, it's one of the most visited places, tourist destination on earth. And family, right now you can easily get Disneyland empty because people are boycotting America. And family, this is also affecting America's GDP because tourism actually does a very, very good part in the US economy. A lot of the monies that contribute to the US economy comes from tourism. America alone earns trillions in shillings, you know, each and every year with tourism. The fear that ICE agents will detain foreigners and not bring them back to their native land is also another issue. Family, when you go to the US and you are arrested, the chances of you being deported back to your country is less. Right now, Donald Trump has come with a policy where you're taken to mass prisons in other countries. And that is some of the reasons why people are afraid of boycotting, going to America. And this is affecting the American economy. It's affecting the dollar adversely. And family, this thanks to bad policies by Donald Trump. The US makes at least $2 trillion, in tourism. When Disneyland is empty, that means a lot of people are even losing their jobs. The tourism sector alone has employed over 18 million Americans. Just imagine, 18 million Americans. Imagine the revenue that the American government collects in hotels and motels. Imagine the revenue they get from their airport. Imagine all these sectors that attract tourists. 18 million jobs lost. Taxes. How do you ask for taxes to hotels that do not even have customers? Hotel workers do not have anything to do. That would mean they'd cut, the workforce. And that is affecting Americans at the end of the day. The hotels won't have customers. The food sector, the farmers who supply food to these hotels, would also go bankrupt. Their farm produce won't get any market for them to be supplied. And this is what is happening in America right now, thanks to people boycotting America because of policies that have come with Donald Trump, which is not working for most Americans and other people from all over the world. Revenue from small businesses that surround the tourism sector are also lost. That just shows us how America is losing a good one with the tourism being boycotted in America. Family, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this FAFO moment? Where now a lot of these sectors are being avoided. A lot of these sectors are losing jobs. They are losing customers. Family, I'd also appreciate if you like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users. I'd also be very, very grateful if you all could consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers. And guys, I'd really, really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe, share the video, like, comment. I'd really, really appreciate, family. Thank you, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.